YouTube? Welcome to another vlog. Today I want to talk about cameras. Why? Well, because I bought a new one. I know, people say I've got too many cameras, but this is what I do for a living. I shoot weddings and I shoot video, I guess, mostly video. A little bit late to the game, but I got myself the new, long awaited for myself anyway, a Panasonic GH5, the Lumix GH5. Very highly reviewed. This is me coming off from my old GH4. Now, ever since I started shooting video, I've always been a Canon person. I've been a Canon guy all my video life. I love the way the Canon shoots, and I love the way the camera looks and the color, and there's no doubt about it that, and I'm shooting it right now on the Mark III. I'm still using the 5D is one of my main kind of cameras on point. But the problem for me was that the compression and the file quality was getting quite behind compared to other cameras and my competitors, I guess. And I started looking at other things. Now, I bought the GH4, never even thought about Micro Four Thirds before. I just bought it because I think there was a massive sale. I got the camera plus a lens for like $1,000, which is quite like wow. Sold the lens for 200 bucks, meaning I got this camera for like 800 bucks, and it was, you know, it's 5, 6 years or whatever this camera's been out. It was still a good shooter. It was a big contender, and also the quality that I got out of this camera was surpassing the Canon in every moment. The only problem with this was ISO, and also just the image sometimes in backlighting and stuff like that kind of fails a bit. I bought myself the Metabones XL Speed Booster and then the Sigma 1835, and this just became my main shooter, especially for my vlogs and also for my Steadicam work. This is just kind of, you know, my go-to camera. And when the GH5 came out, I was pretty excited to get one straight away because well, it's kind of exactly like the GH4, but whatever the GH4 was lacking, or what I hated from the GH4, this had, and improved it by so much more. So it kind of was a no-brainer for me to buy it. I was just waiting for the right time, and finally was able to get a good deal on it, and I bought myself the GH5 with the kit lens, the 12 to 35mm. The only reason I bought this kit lens is actually just for my vlogging. As good as the Sigma is, this is going to be a lot lighter, and I do get autofocus as well. And I get the dual IS with the camera with this lens. Now, this isn't a review on this camera specifically. There's tons and tons and tons of videos that are already on YouTube. As I said, I am late to the game, so people have been getting it and people have been reviewing the camera already. I just kind of want to talk about why I bought this camera and the things that were different from the GH4 that made me want this camera. I also shot some, I guess, walk around footage from different kind of times a day, just to kind of show you the, I guess, quick examples of what the camera can actually do without professional setups. And then I also have a video at the very end just to show you what this camera looks like with that lens on. Now, none of this video is shot on Vlog. I do have Vlog, but I didn't shoot anything on Vlog. It's to show that everyone, like as an everyday kind of shooter, what this guy can do without using kind of professional equipment and professional color grading as well. Now, first and foremost, the dual IS made a very big play, I guess, on this camera for me because especially for vlogs and travel vlogging, I needed that. I was kind of warp stabilizing everything that I do in post, which kind of got time consuming and really annoying. With the dual IS, I'm able to do you know, proper walks, even running and even side walking with one hand, and everything is very, very, very smooth. Now, the second thing is, of course, this camera has 4K. Now, that already had 4K, and the 4K was amazing. This one is really good as well, but this has 4K 50 frames or 60 frames per second. and the 1080 is ramped up to 180 frames per second with I think the variable frame rate kind of function. But also the big thing for me was that shooting 1080 on this camera is not considerably lower of a quality than 4K like you did with the GH4. So I'm able to shoot 1080 with this camera knowing that I have the best quality coming out of the camera. Now, most people just love to shoot at 4K. I'm the kind of videographer who loves to shoot at 1080p because that's all I use. I only go to 4K when I need to, and I just love to be able to shoot at 1080 with crisp image, and this can do that better than any camera that I've tested. Of course, the big thing what everyone's talking about was that this camera with Vlog, it's amazing in terms of dynamic range, and then if you shoot 10-bit, you're able to get so much more color information out of it. I haven't tested it out myself, and I don't think I'll be using it much at all because it's not really the type of work that I do. I got the Vlog anyway just in case, so I don't need to get it if I do need it someday. My friend actually have shot this thing in Vlog, and I've seen the quality, and it's pretty amazing, and it's pretty up there for something that's so small and so light. So the biggest improvement from this to that is obviously the ISO. The biggest letdown with the GH4 was the ISO. I was only able to go to like say ISO 800, maybe ISO 1600, and that's already pushing it. ISO 800 was already kind of in the back of my mind, this is going to be noisy. That was the kind of letdown with Micro Four Thirds camera. I guess it's such a small sensor. Somehow they made this one very workable. Now this is not an ISO machine like the Sony, and honestly no camera is. But this is very workable. I'm able to go to 3200 with good noise. I wouldn't say clean image, but good noise. And at 1600, I'm getting a clean image. And honestly, with the Sigma into this and how bright that lens can go, 1600 is plenty. And I was shooting at night at Vivid with this lens at 2.8, and I was shooting at slow-mo, I was shooting at super slow-mo, and I was still getting crisp image without having to go very high on the ISO. So it is definitely workable, and it's not something that should deter people from getting this camera. Now everyone's kind of having to criticize the autofocus on this camera. Now it is slow, well I would say slower than the Sony and the Canon 5D Mark IV. It is definitely not as fast and as good as like the Canon is making with the entry level kind of 60D, 600D or whatnot. But it is definitely more than workable. I think everyone's criticizing this camera way too over the top. I was using it vlog style, kind of facing my way with the face detection as well, and it was tracking my face quite well. And then if I wasn't shooting myself, I was shooting outside, I put it straight to one area and then just tap where you want to focus, and it focused quite well. And you can actually tap within shooting mode, so it doesn't have to be a pre-focus, and I think that's really neat. A lot of people have been changing the settings and turning down the sensitivity. I've tested that, I've tried that, it doesn't work for me, because even, yes, you are maybe getting a better autofocus system with sensitivity lower, but the problem is as soon as it goes out of focus, the camera won't turn back into focus because the sensitivity is too low. So I advise just to leave it as standard and go to one area and dial down the one area to as small as possible, and then you can kind of like pinpoint and the camera will work its magic. Overall, I'm really happy. I really want to kind of test this camera even more, so I'm hoping to do more videos with it in the near future and let you guys see I guess the difference in quality from the previous videos to the videos from now. If you guys want to know anything about the camera, just leave a comment below and I'll answer as much as I can. If you guys think that I should do a specific kind of test video on the camera, I will try to do that as well. But for now, I'm just gonna experiment more on the camera and, you know, enjoy it as much as I can. But I'll leave you with a video that I've recently done for OFIM, so please check us out in another channel, link below. This video I shot completely with this camera and the Sigma. Interior shots of the cars were handheld, so you can see how smooth it was. We were running Ronin for the rolling shots, but none of the shots were stabilized afterwards. It was just straight out the camera, and you can see that the IS from this camera into the Ronin made it even better. I was completely happy with how it turned out. It is not vlog, so you're not getting crazy dynamic range, but the silhouette was perfect with just a natural picture profile. You can see the black was black and the color was color. There's no fading or anything going on. But yeah, just check it out, and I guess I'll see you guys in the next episode.